We will show them otherwise. The humans continued to move through enemy space, striking key outposts, gathering data, and disrupting patrols. Each move was careful, precise, and effective. They did not seek to destroy the Nigma Empire, but they made it clear that humanity would not be defeated. Lucas Grant tapped the console. Their fleet is regrouping again. They are trying to plan another strike, but their coordination is failing. They underestimate how quickly we learn and adapt. Amy Lawson added, "Exactly. That is why we survive. They expect patterns, predictability, and fear. We give them none. That is humanity's advantage. Days passed, and the humans grew stronger. Engineers repaired damaged ships faster than expected, and crews became more skilled in maneuvering and combat coordination. Every small engagement was a lesson, and every lesson was applied immediately." Noah King smiled at the console. "They don't realize it yet, but we are changing the game. They think they are testing us, but we are testing them too." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. Every move teaches us something new. Every engagement prepares us for the real battle ahead. Humans survive because we never stop learning." The Nigma Empire was growing desperate. Reports of losses, confusion, and disrupted communications filled the council chambers. Some leaders argued for full retreat. Others demanded a massive strike. Zorath stood quietly, knowing that time was running out.
"They do not fear us as we fear them," he said softly. "They survive, adapt, and learn."
Their strength is not in their ships, but in their ability to endure. That is what makes them dangerous. Meanwhile, the human fleet prepared for the next major engagement. They had studied Nigma patterns, understood weaknesses, and refined strategies. Their hidden technology, autonomous coordination systems, and adaptive targeting was ready for use. Ethan addressed the officers. "This is the next phase. We are no longer just surviving. We are teaching the Nigma Empire a lesson. Strike only when necessary. Focus on learning and adaptation. Humanity survives because we think, plan, and endure. That is our advantage." The human ships moved through space with purpose. They avoided traps, struck at weak points, and constantly adapted. Each engagement was faster, smarter, and more efficient than the last. The Nigma Empire was forced to respond to humans rather than control them. Claire Monroe monitored communications. "They are arguing again. Some want to retreat, some want to attack. They do not understand humans. They never will, until it is too late." Ethan smiled faintly. "And that is exactly what we want them to realize. Survival is not guaranteed for those who underestimate humans." As the humans continued their campaign, their reputation spread across the galaxy. Colonies and settlements cheered their victories, knowing that humanity had survived against one of the most powerful empires in existence. Laura Benson walked past Ethan. "We've done more than survive. We've shown that humans cannot be underestimated. Every engagement proves that." Ethan nodded. "Yes, but remember, survival is not about victory alone. It is about learning, adapting, and protecting each other. That is what makes humans different." Lucas Grant tapped the console. "The Nigma Empire is losing confidence. Their leaders are confused. They expected humans to fear them, but we never did. That is why we survive." Amy Lawson added, "And every time they think they have the advantage, humans prove them wrong. That is our greatest strength." Ethan looked out at the stars. "Ah, The next battle will be decisive. They will have to face the truth. Humans survive when all odds are against them. That is our warning, and that is our strength. In the distance, the stars shimmered silently. The humans had grown stronger, smarter, and more determined. The Nigma Empire was learning the hard way that strength alone could not defeat a species that adapted, endured, and refused to give up. The galaxy would remember, humanity would survive, and the Nigma Empire would not forget the lesson they had refused to heed. The galaxy had grown quiet in the days following the last human victory. The Nigma Empire was in shock. Their leaders, once confident and proud, were now unsure. Reports came in from every system they controlled. Humans were not just surviving, they were pushing forward, destroying patrols, and striking at strategic points without losing a single ship in some encounters. Captain Ethan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Endurance, looking at the stars. "This is it," he said quietly. "The Nigma Empire has to understand that we are not weak. Survival is not guaranteed for anyone who underestimates humans." Amy Lawson, the chief of strategy, nodded. "They still think they can fight us directly. They don't realize that humans are dangerous not because we have the biggest weapons, but because we never give up. Every loss makes us smarter." Lucas Grant tapped a control panel. "They're predictable now. Their fleet is larger, but it is moving slowly, trying to coordinate a strike. They believe humans are cornered. They are wrong." Ethan ran his hand along the console. "Then we make them see the truth, prepare the fleet. This time we move on the offensive, not to conquer, but to show them what happens when they underestimate humans." The human fleet jumped into Nigma space, moving quickly and quietly. They avoided large battles at first, focusing on strategic points, supply stations, communication arrays, and small outposts. Each strike was precise and calculated, minimizing losses while maximizing confusion in the Nigma ranks. "We warned the Nigma Empire, do not challenge humans. Survival is not assured sci-fi story." The stars looked different from the bridge of the human ship Endurance. They stretched endlessly, sparkling like tiny fires in the dark, but tonight the darkness felt heavier. Captain Ethan Brooks stood at the viewport, his hands behind his back, staring at the distant flicker of a Nigma Empire cruiser. The ship was massive, with long, sharp edges and glowing blue engines. It was a silent threat in the void, and Ethan knew that the Nigma Empire did not make mistakes when it came to power. "Captain," said Claire Monroe, the communications officer, "we're receiving a response from the Nigma Empire's council." Her voice was calm, but there was a tension in it. Claire always stayed calm in these moments, but even she couldn't hide the faint edge of worry. Ethan turned to her. "Put it through on the main screen." A hologram shimmered in the middle of the bridge. A tall, thin figure appeared, with pale green skin and a crown-like set of ridges on the head. It was Admiral Zorath, one of the leading commanders of the Nigma Empire. He stared at the humans with eyes that seemed too sharp, too calculating. "Humans," Zorath said, his voice echoing strangely in the bridge. "We receive your message. You warn us not to challenge your species, yet you come across space to negotiate. Why should we listen?" Ethan took a deep breath. He had prepared this message carefully. He had thought about it for days. "Admiral Zorath," he said, keeping his voice steady, "we are not asking for your obedience. We are warning you. Humanity has survived countless dangers. We do not seek war, but if challenged, survival is not assured for anyone who underestimates us. Enigma Admiral's eyes narrowed. Your words are meaningless. Every species speaks of survival. Every species claims it can fight. Show us, humans, what makes you different. They are not strong in the way we are used to, he said. Their strength is persistence, intelligence, and the ability to survive. That is why humans are dangerous. That is why we are losing. The humans pressed their advantage, moving through key sectors of the Nigma Empire. Supply lines were disrupted, communication networks destroyed, and patrols dismantled. Each action was measured, precise, and effective. Humanity was not trying to conquer. They were neutralizing threats, forcing the Nigma Empire to face the truth. On a captured Nigma outpost, Ethan and a small team observed the destruction. They believed humans would be weak, he said, but every time they challenged us, we adapted. We survived. That is why survival is not assured for those who underestimate humans. Meanwhile, in the Nigma Council chambers, panic spread. Leaders shouted over each other, trying to decide what to do. We cannot let them continue, one demanded. Our empire will fall. Zorath stood, calm and firm. We underestimated them. That was our mistake. Humans survive because they refuse to give up. They adapt faster than any species we have ever encountered. That is why this empire is in danger. We must retreat, reorganize, and learn, or we will be destroyed. But the damage had already been done. Human strikes had forced the Nigma Empire into defensive positions across multiple systems. Their arrogance had blinded them, and humans' persistence had shown their true danger. Ethan received a report from Claire. Captain, the Nigma Council has ordered a partial retreat. They are no longer confident in their strength. They are trying to negotiate.
Ethan nodded.
Good. Send a message. We do not seek war, but we will not stop until the threat is neutralized. Humanity survives. That is our warning and our strength. Ben Carter, the science officer, added, They now understand what we warned them about, but it will take time for their leaders to accept it fully. Some may never admit it. The humans continued to push strategically, not out of revenge, but to show the Nigma Empire that survival was earned, not assumed. Each successful maneuver reinforced the lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. In the command center of the Nigma Empire, Zorath finally addressed the council. The humans are different. They survive when all odds are against them. They adapt faster than our fleet can respond. Our arrogance has failed us. If we hope to remain an empire, we must accept the lesson. Humans are not weak. Survival is not guaranteed for anyone who challenges them. A murmur ran through the council. Some leaders nodded in agreement. Others refused, but even they could see the truth in the destruction around them. Back on the human side, Ethan stood on the observation deck of the Endurance, looking out at the stars. This is not the end, he said softly, but it is the beginning of understanding. They now know humans survive, no matter the challenge. Claire joined him. Do you think they will ever respect us? Ethan smiled faintly. Respect? Maybe not. Fear? Certainly. And fear can be more powerful than respect. Humans survive because we refuse to stop. That is our greatest weapon. As the human fleet returned to friendly space, reports came in from all over the galaxy. Colonies and settlements watched the news with awe. Humans had proven once again that survival was not about the strongest weapons or the largest ships. It was about persistence, intelligence, and courage.
Laura Benson, the medical officer, walked past Ethan.
We've done more than survive. We've taught the galaxy a lesson. Ethan nodded. Yes, but remember, survival comes with responsibility. Ah! We do not destroy unless forced. We adapt, we learn, and we protect. That is what makes humans different. The stars stretched endlessly before them, calm and silent. Somewhere, the Nigma Empire would rebuild, reflecting on the lessons learned too late. Humans had proven their warning true. Survival is not assured for anyone who underestimates them. Lucas Grant grinned at the bridge crew. They thought we were weak. They thought they could control us. They were wrong. Amy Lawson added, and they will remember that. Every time they think about humans, they will remember today. Ethan looked out into the galaxy and whispered to himself, "We warned them. We survived, and humanity will continue to survive, no matter what challenges lie ahead." The human fleet continued its journey home, silent but victorious. They had not conquered. They had not destroyed. They had survived. And in surviving, they had shown the galaxy what humans truly were: adaptable, clever, and unyielding. And somewhere, deep in the remnants of the Nigma Empire, leaders would whisper to one another, remembering the lesson they had refused to heed. Humans were not to be challenged. Humans survived when all hope seemed lost. Humans were dangerous, not because of power alone, but because they never, ever gave up. The galaxy would not forget. Ethan didn't respond immediately. He knew that words alone could not change centuries of arrogance. "We will show you when the time comes," he said finally. "For now, we ask that you reconsider. Your empire is powerful, but strength alone does not guarantee survival. Do not make the mistake that so many before you have made." Zorad's expression hardened. "We see humans as clever, yes, but cleverness does not matter when faced with the will of the Nigma Empire. You are small, and yet you speak boldly. You will learn your place." The hologram flickered, and the image of the Admiral disappeared. The bridge of the Endurance went silent for a few moments. Ethan turned away from the viewport, running a hand over his face. The warning had been delivered. Now it was a matter of time. "We've been too careful," muttered Ben Carter, the ship's science officer. "They don't take us seriously. We've been trying to talk to them like they're equals, but they think we're weak." Ethan shook his head. "We're not weak, Ben. They just haven't seen what we can do yet." "That doesn't mean we should act rashly. Our job is to survive and protect our people." Claire glanced at the monitor where the last message had disappeared. "Do you think they understand us, Captain?" "I don't know," Ethan admitted. "But it doesn't matter if they understand. They will learn, one way or another." Meanwhile, far from the human fleet, the Nigma Empire's council met in a great hall suspended in space. Thousands of officials, advisors, and military commanders surrounded a circular platform where Admiral Zorath stood. The walls were made of a dark crystal that reflected their pale green faces like mirrors. "Humans are audacious," one council member said, his voice a high, whistling tone. "They are small, fragile, and yet they speak as though they own the stars." Zorath's eyes were cold. "Do not be fooled. Humans are strange, yes, but they are persistent. They adapt, learn, and strike in ways we cannot predict. I have studied them. I have seen their history. They are dangerous when pushed." Another official snorted. "Dangerous? They are insects compared to us. They cannot even survive alone on most planets without tools, shelters, and careful planning. What threat could they truly pose to the Nigma Empire?" Zorath turned sharply to face him. "They have survived on Earth. a world that was almost destroyed countless times. They learned from every disaster. Their strength is not in size or numbers, it is in survival itself. If we underestimate them, we will regret it, the council murmured. Many disagreed, but no one wanted to openly challenge Zorath. He was respected for his victories in the outer regions. Still, there was unease. Humans were different, too unpredictable, too strange, and too unwilling to bow. Back on the Endurance, the crew continued their work, preparing for the worst. Lucas Grant, the ship's tactical officer, studied the maps of Nigma Empire patrols.
They have patrols in every sector, he said, tracing the paths with his finger. It looks like they want to test us.
They want to see how far we dare to go. Amy Lawson, the chief of strategy, leaned over his shoulder. That's exactly what we want them to do. Let them underestimate us. We need time to learn their patterns, to understand their tactics. If they strike first, we can strike back smarter. Ethan nodded. We are not looking for war, but if they force it, we will fight. Survival comes first. Always. The human crew had something the Nigma Empire could not easily understand: resilience. No matter how many times they were pushed to the edge, humans adapted. They improvised. They learned. It was a trait that had allowed them to survive on countless worlds, in countless disasters, and it was why Ethan knew that the warning must be delivered. Again and again. Days passed. The Endurance traveled further into the edges of Nigma space, careful to avoid large patrols but still sending small signals of human presence. It was a dangerous mission, but necessary. No one on the ship spoke much about fear. Instead, they focused on preparation and understanding. They trained in zero-gravity combat drills. They ran simulations of possible battles. They discussed what they had learned from history. One evening, in the quiet of the observation deck, Ethan watched the stars again. Claire joined him, holding a cup of steaming tea, the kind they made from synthesized leaves. "They're arrogant," she said quietly. "Do you really think they will attack?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't know. But arrogance is dangerous. The same arrogance has destroyed many empires before them. We have survived because we plan, because we prepare, and because we don't assume the worst is impossible. We cannot hope for peace."
We can only hope they heed the warning. Claire sipped her tea. And if they don't? Ethan's gaze didn't leave the stars. Then they will learn the hard way.
And I hope they survive, if only to remember that humans are not to be underestimated. On board the Nigma Empire, the Council continued to argue. Some wanted to strike immediately, to show humans their supposed weakness. Others, like Zorath, argued for caution. Every report they received told of humans exploring, of humans observing, of humans surviving in ways that no one thought possible. It frustrated them. It confused them. Most of all, worried them. "The humans have no alliances," Zorath said one night, pacing in his chamber. "No great fleet to protect them, no ancient weapons of mass destruction. And yet they move carefully. Like hunters, they learn from every encounter. They grow stronger with every mistake we make. This is not ordinary species behavior." The Council stayed silent. Many refused to believe it, thinking Zorath paranoid. But deep down, they knew he was right. Humans were different, unpredictable, dangerous not because of power alone, but because of their persistence, their ability to survive, and their unwillingness to submit. Back on the Endurance, the human crew rested only in shifts. Some worked in engineering, improving shields and engines. Others reviewed intelligence reports, noting patterns in the Nigma patrols. Noah King, a young analyst, studied the data tirelessly, often staying late into the artificial night of the ship. Laura Benson, the medical officer, checked on the crew, making sure fatigue did not weaken them. Every person on the ship understood the stakes, and every person was prepared to do their part. One morning, alarms rang throughout the ship. A small Nigma patrol had been spotted near a distant asteroid field. The crew moved quickly into action, though Ethan kept his voice calm over the comm system. "We are not attacking. Observe, record, and retreat if necessary. Make them think they are in control." The patrol approached, scanning and sending messages in their complex Nigma code. The human crew stayed quiet, letting them pass while taking notes. Every observation was valuable. Every detail could mean the difference between survival and disaster in the future. After the patrol passed, Ethan addressed the bridge. "This is why we train. This is why we observe. One day, they will force a fight. When that happens, we need to be ready. Never forget, survival is our first priority. Everything else comes second." Claire smiled faintly. "And still, some of them will not believe us." Ethan nodded. "No, they won't. That is why we warned them." That is why history matters, and that is why we prepare. The days turned into weeks. The humans continued their careful exploration, sending back warnings to Earth, to the colonies, to anyone who would listen. And somewhere, deep within the Nigma Empire, the Council's arguments grew louder. Some wanted to strike now, before humans became too clever. Some wanted to wait, to observe. And Zorath watched, patient, knowing that the humans' true strength was yet to be seen. Ethan stood on the observation deck one night, looking at the stars, thinking about Earth, thinking about home. "They don't understand us," he murmured, "and they won't, until it's too late." Claire joined him, silent. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel a shiver of fear, though she quickly covered it with her usual calmness. "Ethan," she said softly, "do you think we will survive what comes next?" He didn't answer immediately. He only looked at the dark sky, the endless expanse of space. Then he spoke, steady and firm. "We always survive. We have to. That is what makes humans dangerous." And so the warning had been delivered. The humans waited, observed, and prepared. And somewhere deep in the Nigma Empire, a choice was being made: to ignore the warning or to take it seriously. The consequences would echo across the stars, shaping the future of both species. The human fleet moved slowly through the outer edge of Nigma space. Captain Ethan Brooks watched the stars from the bridge of the Endurance, his hands resting lightly on the rail. The silence of space was heavy tonight, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's engines. It was calm now, but Ethan knew this calm would not last. Lucas Grant, the tactical officer, came over with a tablet in hand. "Captain, we've detected small Nigma ships nearby. They're monitoring our movements. It looks like they want to test us." Ethan nodded. "Let them watch. We'll learn what they want, without giving them any reason to strike first." Amy Lawson, the chief of strategy, leaned over his shoulder. "We need to be ready. They may not strike today, but eventually they will. And when they do, we have to be smarter than they expect." The first clash came sooner than anyone expected. A group of Nigma patrols appeared near a small asteroid belt where humans had set up observation drones. The Nigma ships moved fast, their engines leaving long streaks of blue light in space. The humans had no intention of fighting yet. Their goal was to observe, to understand, to survive. Ethan ordered the fleet to hold position. "Do not fire unless fired upon. Keep scanning. Record everything. Claire Monroe worked at the communications console, translating the Nigma messages. They're trying to communicate, she said, but the code keeps changing. They're testing us, Captain, seeing how fast we can respond. Ben Carter, the science officer, frowned at the screens. They are aggressive but predictable in small ways. Their sensors are strong, but they overestimate the speed at which they can adapt. If we can stay calm, we can avoid direct confrontation. The Nigma patrol sent a series of maneuvers designed to provoke the humans. They flew close to the asteroid belt, forcing the human drones to scatter. Small bursts of energy lit up the blackness, testing the fleet's defensive systems. Ethan's voice was calm but firm. Maintain position. Do not panic. Learn from this. The humans watched carefully, noting patterns in the Nigma attack formations. Every move, every adjustment was cataloged and analyzed. Lucas Grant pointed out small weaknesses in their formation, and Amy Lawson quickly made notes on possible responses. Suddenly, a Nigma ship fired a warning beam near one of the human drones. The energy pulse was strong enough to destroy the small craft instantly. Claire's eyes widened.
They are trying to intimidate us, she shouted. Ethan nodded.
Yes. But they are not targeting us directly yet. Stay calm.
Record everything. This is exactly the test we need.
The Nigma ships moved back slightly, giving the humans a moment to breathe. The bridge of the Endurance was tense. Every officer knew that the slightest mistake could bring a full-scale attack. But they also knew that patience was their greatest weapon. Noah King, the young analyst, was glued to the sensors. "Captain," he said, "they're learning from us too. They are adjusting their patterns based on how we respond. It's subtle, but it's there." "That's exactly what we expected," Ethan said. "They think they are teaching us. In reality, we are teaching ourselves and them how dangerous humans can be when cornered." For several hours, the humans observed the patrols, recording every detail. The Nigma ships moved in formations, tried to confuse the human sensors, and tested the drones. Each time, the humans adapted quickly. They changed their positions, altered their drone paths, and even faked signals to mislead the Nigma ships. After the patrol left, Ethan addressed the bridge crew. "This was our first real encounter. Did anyone panic?" "Not me, sir," Lucas said.
We stayed calm and gathered data. That's what matters. Amy Lawson nodded.
"They will underestimate us next time. That will give us an advantage." Even in small victories, there was a cost. A minor energy pulse hit one of the drones directly, and it exploded in a small flash of light. Laura Benson, the medical officer, sighed. "Even machines have a cost. Remember, humans are fragile too. We cannot underestimate the danger." Ethan looked at the crew. "Every loss teaches us something. Every challenge prepares us for the next. We are not here to dominate yet. We are here to survive, and to show them that survival has a price." Meanwhile, in the Nigma Empire, Admiral Zorath reported back to the Council. "The humans are learning faster than expected," he said. "They adapt after every test. They survive where other species would fail. Their resilience is extraordinary." A council member snorted. "They are still weak. Their ships are small. Their weapons are limited. They may adapt slowly, but they cannot match the Empire's strength."
Zorath shook his head.
"Strength alone does not guarantee victory. We must observe carefully. Humans are clever, and cleverness combined with survival instinct makes them dangerous. Ignore that, and we will regret it." The council murmured, uneasy. Some dismissed Zorath's warnings. confident in their power. Others hesitated, remembering the records of species that had fallen despite superior strength. Back on the human side, Ethan called a meeting of the key officers. We need to prepare for what comes next. Today, we survived. Tomorrow, they will push further.
Ben Carter leaned forward.
We have enough data now to understand some of their systems. Their patrols follow patterns. Their weapons have limits. Their ships are fast, but not invincible. Amy Lawson added, we need to use their assumptions against them. Let them think they know our moves, and then surprise them. Lucas Grant tapped the tablet. They believe humans are weak. They do not expect us to fight smart, to coordinate silently, to adapt instantly. That is our strength. That is why we survive. Ethan nodded. Then that is what we will do. Survival is our priority. Everything else is secondary. The next encounter came 3 days later. The humans had moved deeper into the asteroid belt, using the rocky formations as cover. Small patrols from the Nigma Empire followed, trying to catch the humans off guard. This time the humans were ready. As the Nigma ships approached, the human fleet split into smaller groups, faking retreat while actually drawing the Nigma ships into narrow paths. Energy beams ricocheted off asteroids, giving humans better cover while confusing the Nigma sensors. Noah King grinned at the monitor. They're taking the bait. Their formation is breaking. Ethan's voice was calm, precise. Do not celebrate yet. Keep observing. Keep learning. A Nigma ship fired, aiming at a human drone. The shot missed by a fraction of a meter, striking an asteroid instead. The humans adjusted instantly, moving drones and small ships in perfect coordination. The Nigma ship struggled to adapt, Lucas Grant whispered. They're not used to this. They expect predictable behavior. Humans are unpredictable. Amy Lawson added, unpredictability is survival. It has always been. After hours of maneuvering, the Nigma patrol withdrew. They had failed to capture any human ships or drones. The human crew celebrated quietly, knowing that victory today did not guarantee tomorrow. Ethan gathered the bridge crew. Today we survived, and we learned. That is what matters. They will return, stronger, but we will be ready. Remember, every encounter is a lesson. Every challenge prepares us for the next. Laura Benson smiled at her colleagues. It is strange. Even though the danger is real, it feels like we are getting stronger every day. Claire Monroe nodded. It's true. Humans are not just surviving. We are learning, adapting, and proving that we are not to be underestimated. In the Nigma Empire, Zorath stood quietly in his chamber, watching reports from the field. These humans, he muttered, they are different. They survive where no one should. They adapt faster than I expected. And they do not fear loss. That is dangerous. That is what makes them a threat. Some council members still dismissed him, believing humans were weak and small. But Zorath knew better. History had taught him that resilience and cleverness often outweighed raw strength. And these humans were full of both. Back on the Endurance, the crew spent the next week preparing. Engineers improved shields, weapons systems, and engines. Analysts like Noah King worked on simulations of future encounters. Tactics officers practiced new maneuvers, while the captain reviewed every piece of information they had gathered. Ethan looked at his crew one evening. The Nigma Empire believes we are weak. Roar. Let them believe that. One day that belief will work in our favor. Until then, we survive. We learn. Ow.
We adapt. That is humanity.
The crew nodded silently. each understanding the stakes. Every star in the distance reminded them that space was full of danger, full of civilizations that could crush them in an instant. But humans had survived worse. Humans had endured catastrophes that had ended countless species. And so, the first clash ended with no ships lost, no humans killed, but with lessons learned and warnings given. The Nigma Empire had tested humans and failed to break them. Humanity had survived once again, proving that survival was not just about strength. It was about cleverness, resilience, and determination. Ethan stood on the observation deck that night, staring at the dark sky. "They do not understand us," he said softly. And they will not until it is too late." Claire joined him, holding a cup of tea. "Do you think they will ever respect us?" Ethan smiled faintly. "Respect? No. They will fear us when they learn that humans survive against all odds. And fear can be as powerful as respect." In the darkness of space, the stars sparkled silently. The humans had survived the first real test. And somewhere, deep in the Nigma Empire, doubt had begun to creep into minds that had never known fear before. Humanity had proven, once again, that survival was not guaranteed to the strongest, but to the clever, the persistent, and the unyielding. And that was the beginning of a lesson that the Nigma Empire would not forget. The humans had survived the first clashes with the Nigma Empire, but Captain Ethan Brooks knew this was only the beginning. The Nigma Empire was learning, adapting, and growing cautious, but they had not yet understood humanity's true strength. On the bridge of the Endurance, Ethan studied the star charts. "They are regrouping," he said, tracing the movement of the Nigma patrols. "They are planning a larger strike. We need to be ready." Amy Lawson, the chief of strategy, leaned over his shoulder. "They think they can corner us, but humans are not predictable. They assume patterns will hold, but we adapt faster than they can." Lucas Grant, the tactical officer, tapped the display. "We've hidden some technology. If they push too hard, we can use it to turn the tables." "They will not see it coming." Ethan nodded. "Prepare the fleet. This is the time to be smart, not reckless. Survival is our goal. Everything else comes after." Meanwhile, in the Nigma Empire, Admiral Zorath was growing uneasy. Reports from their scouts showed that humans were not only surviving, they were striking at strategic locations, disabling minor patrols, and moving quickly to gather intelligence. "The humans are clever," Zorath said to the council. "They adapt faster than we expect. Every attack we send teaches them something new. This is dangerous. We must prepare for a decisive engagement, or we risk losing control of the outer systems." Some council members scoffed. "They are small. Their fleet is limited. They cannot face the full strength of the Nigma Empire." Zorath's eyes were cold. "Strength alone does not ensure survival. Humans are dangerous because they adapt, learn, and survive. Ignore that, and we will lose." Back on the Endurance, the humans began their preparations. Engineers worked around the clock, enhancing shields, engines, and weapons. Ben Carter, the science officer, oversaw the deployment of autonomous coordination systems, artificial intelligence programs designed to guide small groups of ships in perfect synchronization. Noah King, the analyst, studied Nigma fleet patterns. "They are predictable in some ways," he said. "We can use that. If we force them into specific zones, we can control the battlefield." Laura Benson, the medical officer, reminded the crew. "Remember, we cannot afford to lose lives unnecessarily. Every human is valuable. We survive together." Ethan gathered the key officers. "The next encounter will not be a small test. They are planning a strike. Our goal is not to destroy them yet, but our goal is to survive, learn, and show them that humans cannot be underestimated. The humans moved carefully into Nigma-controlled space. Small patrols were spotted at first, but soon they detected a larger fleet. Dozens of Nigma ships moving in formation. The humans did not panic. They knew that panic was deadly in space. "Split into 3 groups," Ethan ordered. "Group 1 will feint to the left. Group 2 will hold the center.
Group 3 will stay in reserve. Use the asteroids for cover and the AI systems to coordinate movements.
Stay unpredictable." The Nigma fleet noticed the human ships and moved to intercept. They fired warning beams, signaling their intent to attack. The humans responded slowly, deliberately, testing the Nigma ship's reactions. Lucas Grant whispered, "They are taking the bait. They think we are cornered." Amy Lawson added, "Good. Let them make mistakes. We will exploit every error." The first clash began near a dense asteroid belt. Nigma ships fired energy beams, striking asteroids that exploded in showers of debris. Humans used the debris as shields, moving drones and small ships in ways that seemed chaotic but were perfectly coordinated. Noah King tracked the enemy's response. "They're confused. Their formations are breaking." Ethan spoke calmly into the comm. "Keep focus, observe, and adapt.
Do not engage recklessly. Every move counts."
The human fleet used their hidden technology. Autonomous coordination systems allowed ships to move in perfect synchrony, striking weak points in the Nigma formation. Small energy pulses disabled engines and shields, creating confusion among the enemy. Claire Monroe translated intercepted Nigma messages.
"They are panicking. They do not understand our tactics."
They expected direct confrontation, not clever maneuvers and adaptive strategy. Hours passed. The humans continued to strike precisely, avoiding unnecessary loss while inflicting damage on the Nigma fleet. Their moves were swift, calculated, and unpredictable. Even the Nigma commanders could not understand the humans' coordination. Ethan gathered the officers after the skirmish. "We survived, we adapted, and we learned. That is what matters. This is how humans fight, strategically, patiently, and intelligently. We do not waste resources. We survive first." On the Nigma side, Zorath watched reports come in. "They adapt faster than we can anticipate," he said grimly. "Their tactics are strange, but effective. Every attack we launch teaches them something new. We cannot fight them as we fight other species."
Humans are different. Some council members still refuse to see the danger.
"They are small," one insisted. "We can crush them with the next strike." Zorath shook his head. "You are wrong. Humans survive where others would fail. Their strength is in intelligence, resilience, and persistence. If we underestimate them, the Empire will crumble." Back on the Endurance, Ethan focused on the next step. "We cannot just react," he said. "We need to be proactive, gather intelligence, analyze patterns, and be ready for the next engagement."
The Nigma Empire believes they are in control.
Noah King, the young analyst, monitored the enemy's reactions. "They're panicking. Their ships are moving randomly now. They have no idea what we will do next." Claire Monroe translated intercepted messages. "Their leaders are arguing. Some want to retreat. Some want to attack. They cannot agree on a single plan. That's why we succeed." The first major engagement came near a large asteroid belt. The Nigma Empire had gathered several ships, confident they could trap the humans. Ethan knew the trap was real. But humans had something the Nigma commanders did not expect: hidden technology, refined and ready for this moment. "Activate the autonomous coordination systems," Ethan ordered. "All units follow preset maneuvers, observe and adapt." The human ships split into smaller groups, moving in ways that seemed chaotic, but were perfectly synchronized. Drones flitted among the asteroids, confusing the Nigma sensors. Energy beams ricocheted harmlessly, as humans had predicted, using the asteroids as shields. Lucas Grant grinned. "They think they are attacking us, but they're walking into our plan. Watch them try to adapt." Amy Lawson added, "Every move we make is a lesson for them. Every retreat is a trap. They don't understand our strategy, but that's fine." The Nigma ships were caught in the asteroid field. Their weapons were blocked, their sensors confused. Humans used precise, targeted strikes to disable engines and communications. No human ship was lost, while several Nigma ships were heavily damaged. On the bridge of the Endurance, Ethan watched calmly. "Do not celebrate. Keep focus. The battle is only beginning. We survive, we adapt, we win, without unnecessary loss. That is humanity." The Nigma commanders were furious. Their arrogance had led them into a trap. "How can such a small species do this?" one demanded. "Our strength should have crushed them." Admiral Zorath's expression was calm but grim.